Hi, I'm Jenny from Refresh Living, and today I'm going to show you how I made little mason bee nests from old glass juice cups from the thrift store. So it was a super easy project, and now it's going to provide nests for pollinators in my backyard. Mason bees are small, docile little bees that are really efficient pollinators. They only live for a short time, 6 to 8 weeks during the summer, but they're actually more efficient than honeybees at pollinating. So they're great if you have fruit trees or other flowers in your yard. Mason bees make their nests in little holes, and this is where they lay their eggs for the whole time they're alive. They lay an egg, pack mud, lay an egg. So this project is going to help them, give them a place to lay their eggs. So I started with some juice cups from the thrift store. I picked ones that were kind of like tall and skinny so that the tubes would be long enough. I used some felt to make the hanging brackets, and then a little grommet kit, which I'll show you later how I used to make the holes and the grommets. I chose to use paper straws for this project. I found a ton of them for super cheap on clearance at the end of last summer, but they can get a little pricey if you're buying them just at regular price. So later in the video, I'm going to show you how to make your own paper straws, which is a completely great option. I cut these in half because the straws need to sit inside the juice glass so that water doesn't get into them. It kind of provides a little bit of a shelter. You'll also want to close off the end of every tube because mason bees only will make their nests in a place that is closed off on one end. They go all the way to the end to lay their first egg, so they want to make sure that it's safe. So that just helped to close off the tube. The optimal diameter for mason bees is 5/16 of an inch. They like in diameter. They like that size for the holes. These paper straws are slightly under. I think it's less than 1/16 of an inch difference. So they still should be just fine for mason bees. But I also decided to make some extra straws out of paper. You'll want to replace the paper straws every year because you don't want them to carry disease or mold or anything between seasons and then between different mason bees every year. So paper is a good cheap alternative, and it doesn't take too long to make the tubes. You can use copy paper, which I'm using here, or wax paper or parchment paper all work just fine. I cut mine paper into fourths, and then basically a pencil is a perfect size guide for 5/16 of an inch tubes. So I just rolled the paper around the pencil tightly and then used a piece of tape to close it off and keep it all together. If you roll your paper at an angle, that actually helps to keep it together, and you may not even need to use tape. You'll want to remember to seal off the end of the tube just by folding it to close off the end. And then I just interspersed my paper tubes throughout the paper straws. Mason bees remember where they lay their eggs, and they like to fill up one hole before going to the next. So by creating these different sizes, it kind of is creating this like visual disparity that lets the mason bee remember where they're laying the eggs. You can also use just a permanent marker on the end of some of the tubes to help create that variety. For the hanging piece, I used a grommet kit. The grommet kit comes with these two little pieces. This is used to set the grommets. If you already have those in the size that you need, then you would just need to buy the grommets. But a kit like that only cost me $2, I think. I cut some felt into strips and then basically just used the glass to gauge where my grommets needed to go so that it was tight enough. I used a pair of scissors to poke a hole through one side. May not be the safest option, but it worked. I think you could also probably just mark it with a pencil as well. After the holes were marked, I just used my scissors to make a little X in them and then to make the hole big enough so that each grommet could fit through. After the holes are made in one side, I used my cup as a guide again and marked where on the other side of the felt I would need to make my holes just with a pencil. To install the grommets, it's super easy. You'll put your base on a flat surface, and then you'll use the piece that has the little lip and put it through both sides of your piece of fabric. Then there's going to be a little plastic ring that goes on top, and then on top of that is the top of the grommet. You'll use the setter and a couple really swift hits of the hammer to set it in place. After your grommets are all set, you'll slip it on the cup and then hang it with ribbon or rope. You'll want to hang your mason bee nest on a south or southeast facing fence or side of your house. If it can be covered by an awning, that'd be best, but the lip of the juice clasp should give enough protection. Now, you'll know that the straws are being filled when you see mud caps at the end. That means that the whole straw has been filled with eggs. At the end of the season, so before fall starts, you'll want to take the nest and bring it into a garage or a basement. And in the spring, after the last frost, you'll bring your nest back out, hang it up, and then the new mason bees will emerge from that. For more DIY and upcycled projects, please visit my blog, refreshliving.net, and I'd love for you to subscribe to my YouTube channel. Thanks so much.